Not sure how to launch your product? I'll show you how to choose the best crowdfunding platform. You're probably thinking, why should I listen to this guy? Well, I've raised over $100 million on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. In fact, my company Launchboom has helped over 1,000 creators launch their product ideas since 2013. At first glance, both platforms look extremely similar. They each let you raise money for your product idea, but if you look deeper, both come with a unique set of features and quirks. So if you're not sure whether to go with Kickstarter or Indiegogo, I'll take you through the pros and cons of each. They will battle it out in 6 key categories, and only one can go home with the belt. Near the end of this video, I'll also show you an easy to read summary on the benefits of each. So if you want to make the most informed decision, stick around till the end. Let's start with Kickstarter. It's the biggest and most well-known crowdfunding platform out there. Since 2009, artists, filmmakers, designers, and other creators have used Kickstarter to bring their creative projects to life. Kickstarter allows creators to pitch directly to the public without the need for traditional gatekeepers like banks or investors. Since it started, Kickstarter has played a role in funding a wide range of projects, from tabletop games to music albums to consumer products. And oh, by the way, Kickstarter campaigns have raised a jaw-dropping $7.66 billion with over 248,000 fully funded projects. And that's just a part of their flex. 777 campaigns have broken the $1 million mark on Kickstarter, and another 10,430 campaigns have raised over $100,000. Here are some more stats. Kickstarter has 15 main categories, with games, design, and technology being the most popular categories. Each main category also has subcategories. If you count those as well, Kickstarter has 156 total categories. Now, let's introduce Indiegogo. Indiegogo may be lesser known, but it actually started 1 year before Kickstarter did in 2008. At the beginning, Indiegogo's sole focus was independent films. Their name makes a lot more sense now, right? But a year after it launched, the platform started taking on projects and wild ideas from any category out there, including tech and innovation, arts, social causes, and more. Today, Indiegogo has launched over 800,000 ideas and has a backer community of 9 million. Okay, now that you know a bit about these crowdfunding contenders, let's get to the main event. Which one should you choose for your project? While you can technically launch all the same stuff on both Kickstarter and Indiegogo, when it comes to which categories perform best, each platform has developed their own niches. If you're launching an art project like a music album, film, or book, then Kickstarter is probably the best choice for you. In general, Kickstarter has done a better job of aligning themselves with artists and creatives than Indiegogo has. If you're launching a game, like a tabletop game, video game, or card game, then Kickstarter is definitely the best choice. Gaming alone accounts for 30% of the $7.66 billion in funds raised on its platform. Kickstarter has actually played a pivotal role in board game popularity in general. Kickstarter is also more favored by backers who have an appreciation for design. Products related to product design, travel, and photography tend to perform better here. Meanwhile, Indiegogo has a few of its own niche categories. For example, if you are launching a glamping site or boutique hotel, Indiegogo is the best platform for you. Fun fact, my company Launchboom has launched 7 boutique hotels on Indiegogo, with one being the first ever launched, which was in 2020, and one being the most funded hotel project ever at over 1.7 million raised. Another category that works especially well on Indiegogo is e-bikes. There have been a lot more e-bikes launched on Indiegogo than Kickstarter, which has led to a nice sized community of backers there. So which platform wins this round? Neither. The right choice depends on your product, and except for a few niche categories, the majority of products can perform well on either platform. Round 2. Platform size. One of the main reasons why crowdfunding works so well is because each platform has a massive backer community. By accessing these communities, you can increase your funding by a huge amount. Usually about 20 to 30% of the total funds raised come from the platforms themselves. So, which platform has a bigger backer community? Let's start with Kickstarter. If you go out onto the street and ask someone to name a crowdfunding platform, I bet most would say Kickstarter. That's because Kickstarter has grown into one of the most well-known crowdfunding platforms globally, and numbers back it up. As far as platform size goes, it comes out swinging, with a record-breaking $7.66 billion raised by 22.5 million backers. To put that number of backers into perspective, if Kickstarter's backer community were a country, it'd nearly be in the top 50. Indiegogo, on the other hand, still has a significant global presence since the platform started in 2008, but their numbers aren't quite as big as Kickstarter. The total funds raised is north of $3 billion from a backer community of 9 million. It may not have the same heavyweight numbers as Kickstarter, but there's no doubt it's still a force to be reckoned with in the crowdfunding world. So in the size department, Kickstarter wins this round. But remember, size isn't everything. More important is launching on the platform where you believe your community will be. Research the platforms and look for projects like yours. If there are a lot of successful ones, then there's probably a strong backer community there that you can tap into. By the way, if you want more crowdfunding knowledge, I've created tons of free and super affordable resources so you can learn everything I know. For example, you can get the audiobook version of my best-selling book, Crowdfunded, for free. The book will teach you how to bring your product idea to life step by step. I'll leave a link for you in the corner of this video and in the description below. All right, let's get back to it. Round 3, flexibility. Off the bat, Kickstarter comes with some simple rules you need to follow. 1, you need to be creating something. That means no charity or personal projects. 2, you need to have a working prototype. That means no concepts or renders. 3, you need to give backers something in return. That means no exchanging funds for equity in your company. And they have some other legal requirements like you must be 18 or older, you must declare if you're creating a project in your own name or on behalf of a registered legal entity you're a part of, you must have an address, bank account, and government-issued ID based in the country you're creating in, which means no faking your location if you don't live in the list of eligible countries. It's like their own personal crowdfunding rulebook, and you need to abide by it if you want to raise money for your project on their platform. But the biggest difference of all is that Kickstarter operates on an all or nothing model, also known as fixed funding. This means that if a campaign doesn't reach its funding goal, it gets nothing. Yep. Backers aren't charged a cent, and the creator needs to go back to the drawing board. Some people don't like this funding model because it's more risky for creators in the short term, but in the long term, I believe it's better for creators and backers, and for an overall healthier crowdfunding ecosystem. Kickstarter also has an approval process before you can launch. Projects launching in most categories will be auto-approved by their system, but if you are launching a technology or design project, you will be manually reviewed by their trust and safety team. Don't worry. If you follow their rules, you should be approved within 3 days. Indiegogo, on the other hand, is like your cool, laid-back uncle. Just like Kickstarter, it offers fixed funding, but unlike Kickstarter, it has something called flexible funding. Flexible funding means if a campaign doesn't reach its funding goal, the creator still gets to keep the funds. Indiegogo is also more flexible when it comes to project approval. Projects can launch in the concept stage, which means they do not need to have a working prototype in order to launch. You can even launch with photorealistic renderings. With that said, Indiegogo's trust and safety team still reviews every project, even the concepts, to ensure project viability and to protect the community from scams. Lastly, Indiegogo is available in more countries than Kickstarter. Now, just like Kickstarter, Indiegogo has requirements around being over 18, using your legal name or business, and connecting a bank account from one of their approved countries. But all in all, Indiegogo is a little more flexible than Kickstarter. So if that's important to you, then this is your go-to. Round 4, fees. Both platforms charge a 5% fee on funds raised, plus a payment processing fee, which can range from 3 to 5%, but they charge these fees in some different ways. Kickstarter does not charge backers as payment cards until the campaign ends. It's typical to see around 2 to 3% of your backers as payments to fail when this happens. 14 days after your campaign ends, Kickstarter will charge their fee plus payment processing fees from the total remaining amount and then send you the remaining money. Indiegogo is a little different. First off, they charge backers immediately. That means no guessing how many cards might fail when your campaign ends. 15 days after your campaign closes, Indiegogo will charge their fee plus payment processing fees plus 5% for reserved funds and then send you the remaining money. Hold up. What's that 5% for reserve funds? This is something unique to Indiegogo and is very important to understand. If you raise more than 1,000 in your local currency, then Indiegogo will hold 5% of your funds raised in something called reserve funds. It's almost like the platform plays a game of hide and seek with your money. But in all seriousness, This is to cover refunds and chargebacks. Indiegogo will hold the reserve funds for at least 6 months and only send you the money at their discretion, which basically means once you start delivering your product and you don't get a whole bunch of refunds, they'll send you your money. Because of some of the vagueness around reserve funds, I'll give Kickstarter the edge here for the creator. But besides that, their fees are basically the same. Regardless of which platform you choose, when it comes to fees, keep this in mind. Fees can eat into your funding, especially when it's unexpected. If you're serious about seeing your project through, you're going to want to be on top of all the possible costs, which means factoring fees into the process. My advice would be to budget this 5% fee from the get-go. Use it as a benchmark when setting your goal so that it doesn't pop up as an extra financial burden later. Round 5, features. Each platform has a ton of features to help you launch your project. Because there's so many, and so that this video doesn't become 100 hours long, this will be more of a rapid fire round. All right, feature 1. Pre-launch pages. These are pages to collect email addresses of people who are interested in your product before you launch. Kickstarter's pre-launch pages are very basic. You can only change one image and some text. Indiegogo's pre-launch pages are much more customizable, but still lacking compared to best-in-class pre-launch funnel builders. For example, at LaunchBoom, we pioneered the pre-launch and have our own software called LaunchKit. Using robust, feature-rich software for pre-launch is key to a successful launch. Feature 2. Campaign page editor. Your campaign page is one of the most important creative assets for your launch. So let's look at the built-in campaign page builders on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. Kickstarter's campaign page editor got a much needed upgrade in September of 2023. It's easy and intuitive to use, but lacks features for power users. Indiegogo's campaign page editor may not look as clean and modern, but it's definitely more customizable. For example, if you are more tech savvy, you can even design your page using HTML. Feature 3, reward builder. Your rewards, or perks as they call them on Indiegogo, are what people back on your campaign. Let's first talk about the similarities. On both Kickstarter and Indiegogo, you can add reward descriptions, reward photos, shipping rates by country, and limited quantities. You can also upsell more products by using something called add-ons. Now for the differences. On Kickstarter, you can also make rewards available for a limited time, as well as change the limited quantity whenever you want. Neither of these features are available on Indiegogo, but on Indiegogo, you can create something called secret perks, which are only visible to people who click on a specific link. This is not something Kickstarter has yet. Feature 4, custom link tracking. Both platforms give you the ability to track any source of traffic you want. On Kickstarter, you can generate any number of unique sources you want to track, and each will be given a unique link. You can manage your custom tracking links in your dashboard. On Indiegogo, you don't generate links beforehand, but add custom text to your campaign link and it will track automatically. Honestly, the way Indiegogo does it is a little confusing for most. I recommend checking out their documentation to fully understand it. Feature 5, ad tracking. One of the main sources of traffic to successful crowdfunding campaigns is from ad platforms like Meta or Google. Because of that, having accurate ad tracking is very important. Both Kickstarter and Indiegogo allow you to add your Meta pixel for tracking, as well as set up Meta's conversion API, also called a CAPI for short. Lastly, both platforms allow for tracking with Google Analytics 4, also called GA4. Feature 6, pledge management. After a crowdfunding campaign ends, the focus shifts to fulfilling your orders. A pledge manager makes this process way easier. Each platform has some built-in pledge management features, but both are pretty limited. At this time, it's still necessary to use a third-party pledge manager like Pledgebox or BackerKit if you want a much more robust feature set. Feature 7, post-campaign funding. There is no reason to stop collecting funds for your project after the campaign ends. Indiegogo has a feature called In Demand, which basically turns your campaign into a pre-order store. You can keep collecting funds for however long you want. Kickstarter doesn't have this feature, but you are allowed to launch an Indiegogo In Demand campaign after your Kickstarter campaign ends. The catch is that Indiegogo will charge you 8% instead of 5% because you came from a different platform. So, who wins this round? Well, I'd give it to Indiegogo. They historically have been more open to testing new features for creators, and even though Kickstarter has added a bunch of new features over the last year, Indiegogo still has more. Round 6, promotions. Remember how each platform has millions of backers in their community? Wouldn't it be nice to get your campaign in front of them? That's where promotions come in. Both platforms offer ways to promote your campaign to their backer communities. Starting with Kickstarter, they have opportunities to get featured on their homepage, within category pages, and in their newsletter. How? Well, the first step is to get the coveted Projects We Love badge. That means that the Kickstarter team really loves your project, and because of that, you get a special badge on your campaign. This special badge gives you more visibility on the platform and increases your likelihood of getting exclusive placements in areas like the newsletter. I know what you're thinking. Can't I just pay a fee to get better placement on Kickstarter? Nope, Kickstarter is not pay to play. Indiegogo, on the other hand, will gladly tell you how and how much it costs to get better placement. Just like Kickstarter, they have promotional opportunities on their homepage and in their newsletter. Costs can be one-time fees or them taking a higher percentage of any funds raised from backers that came from their promotional efforts. So, who wins in this category? It's hard to say. If you look at it in terms of accessibility, I'd say that Indiegogo would win because even though the promotions cost something, how you get promoted is pretty black and white. If you look at it in terms of effectiveness though, I'd say that Kickstarter would win. At LaunchBoom, we've consistently seen more funding come from Kickstarter's promotions than Indiegogo's. But the thing is, whichever you choose, getting promoted by either platform is awesome. All right, time to sum it all up. For Kickstarter, here are your pros and cons. Pros: a large and active backer community, strong reputation, especially in the arts, gaming, and technology and design. No money is held by Kickstarter after the campaign. Cons: more strict project approval process, works with less countries, a little more limited in terms of features. And for Indiegogo, pros: flexibility in funding options, works with more countries, less strict in terms of project acceptance. Cons: 5% of funds raised are held for at least 6 months as reserve funds. Flexible funding can actually be riskier for creators in the long run. Doesn't have the same brand recognition as Kickstarter in some circles. So my final verdict: it ends in a tie. The truth is, the showdown between Kickstarter and Indiegogo is not about which platform is better overall, it's about which one is better for you and your project. So, do your research, know your audience, and know your product inside and out. Then choose the platform that best aligns with your goals. If you're still unsure or have a few lingering questions, I'd be happy to help. Like I said at the beginning of this video, my team at LaunchBoom and I have worked with over 1,000 product creators, and we love to help you out too. Click the link on this video or in the description below, just answer a few questions and we'll connect you with one of our crowdfunding experts. Remember, no matter which platform you pick, the crowdfunding journey is an adventure worth taking. I've personally seen many lives change after a successful launch, so I recommend you get out there and finally bring your project to life. If you found any part of this video helpful, it'd help me out a lot if you gave it a like, subscribe to the channel, and then I'll see you in the next one.